So Piyusha, firstly, you are a woman. Second, you are a stunning woman.
Thank you.
And
You're
thirdly-
generous.
And third, you're an entrepreneur also. So how do you manage, all the challenges that you face to always look perfect? How do you manage these?
The moment you asked a question, there was like an entire screen in front of me. Oh, aaj ye karna hai, aaj ye karna hai, the responsibility came back. So, it's a very intricate dance between all these things. I remember, I'll tell you a story. So, remember when we were kids and we used to go to this circus. तो वहाँ एक जोकर होता था, उस जोकर के हाथ में they used to have lot of glass balls. अब वो ऐसे ऐसे करता रहता था and no ball used to fall, the juggling game. Do you remember? ऐसे ऐसे वो balls डालता रहता था. So for me, it's like, all these are glass balls and I really don't know how it's being juggled right now, but it's somehow managing. अब कब कौन सी गिर जाए पता नहीं, but we are still juggling that game. So, there are a lot of things I want to talk about when you say as a motherhood or as an entrepreneur. So, as a woman in business, it's a very sad part that we women always have to work double the amount of what our male counterparts have to do.
Right.
For the same amount of education, for the same amount of experience, for the same amount of capabilities, we still have to work double the hard to prove ourselves. वो जैसे वो क्या कहते हैं अग्नि परीक्षा, तो वो अग्नि परीक्षा we as women, and I'm sure all women would relate to it, in some or the other form we go through it every day. कितना ही हम कर लें, we still have to prove ourselves. So this is something really sad. और ये सब होने के बाद भी when we go home, we are still given the role of a emotional anchor, a caregiver. You are supposed to be present for everything that's happening around. So it becomes very difficult. The gender bias, whether you agree or not, it is very much persistent. And it's not only India, it's a global phenomenon. I mean, I work across so many countries and this is something I've seen across the globe. The fairer sex always has it more difficult. So yeah, it becomes really challenging at times. And then the way you said that if you want to look a certain way, there's a time and effort involved in that also. So you need to be perfect in everything because there are people just sitting to judge you. You find support maybe once in a million, otherwise everyone is sitting right across to judge you. People start judging you. अच्छा ये तो इसकी शक्ल ऐसी इसलिए काम मिल गया होगा. Nobody sees your intelligence. They are not interested in your brain. They don't understand that a woman is sexy because of her brain. Looks आज हैं कल नहीं है, but it's a package that comes along. So since people are judging you so much, so it is a very complex dance. But I think yeah, it's very fulfilling. I'm enjoying it right now. But at this point, I want to have a mention about that I have a very good team. I have a lot of gratitude for them. कि जैसे कोई बॉल गिर रही होती है ना, वो नीचे आते हैं और वापस उसको ठीक करके चले जाते हैं. But I have been really blessed to have a very good support system in terms of friends, in terms of the professional crowd that I have. तो अभी तक तो ये juggling चल रही है. And yeah, let's pray कि चलती रहे.
So मैंने एक कोट सुना था कि अगर आपको जल्दी जाना है तो आप अकेले जाओ, लेकिन अगर आपको दूर तक जाना है तो आप टीम के साथ जाओ.
बिल्कुल.
So
but I always tell my team, we have this discussion almost every day. You enjoy growth only when you all grow together. और अकेले ना कोई आदमी बहुत ज़्यादा दिन सर्वाइव नहीं कर सकता. तो मुझे तो मज़ा ही उसमें, मैं हमेशा उनको यही कहती हूँ कि हम वो काम करेंगे जिसमें हमें मज़ा आता है करने में, और ऐसा काम जिससे हम सब साथ मिलके ऊपर उठें. Fun is growing together.
Journey from business to a glam icon. Like what were the challenges? Any glam stories?
I can give you all the rundown, but quick becomes a little difficult for me because I think I love talking. So from entrepreneurship to glam world. Okay, so I am a hardcore military kid. My dad was a fighter with the Indian Air Force, so I've had a very staggered upbringing, and I've had a lot of people in my circle being posted every 2 years to different places, and I've had a lot of exposure thanks to a defense upbringing. And when I was obviously a very pampered upbringing what defense services give you. So then I did my masters in computers and everything was done, and I was having a very good life what an 18, 19, 20-year-old would have. But then when I lost my father, all of a sudden, then at that point in time I realized that it was very important for me to be financially stable. Irrespective of what legacy my father has left behind for me or what my future husband, boyfriend, brother would do, it never mattered to me. What mattered to me that I need the power to say no. I need the power to make my own decisions. और ये no ना सुनने में बहुत छोटा सा word लगता है, पर इस no को बोलने के लिए ना इसके पीछे बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. The power that you get when you say no comes only when you are on your own. So I realized कि मुझे और कुछ तो इतना आता नहीं था. Fashion was my love, but I was educated in computers and I started this telecom company which was into coding and stuff. So this is what it was required to be done at that point in time. ये हमारा requirement था, ये हमारा प्यार नहीं था. But when the company established and we now are a multinational, we are in a lot of places, and it's a huge company with 400 employees who are now my extended family who have been through thick and thin with me. So जब ये सब settle हो गया, then I thought कि now it's time for me to follow my dreams. And that was something very intrinsic with me. I think I was born with a love for fashion. एंड ऐसे ही किसी ने मतलब ज़िंदगी में बहुत लोग ऐसे आए जो वो स्ट्रेंजर्स बट किसी ना किसी तरह से वो कंट्रीब्यूट करके चले गए. सो वन ऑफ दीज magazines, you know, they approached me and they put me on their cover. It was a fashion and lifestyle magazine, and that was a boost I got from there, that maybe it's a calling from nature, that do what you want to do now. तो वो हमारा काम था और ये हमारा प्यार है. So that was required to be done. This is what I always wanted to do. And you know, Bhavisha, when I wake up in the morning now, though I make all my money from, most of the money comes from the business field, but when I wake up in the morning, I don't think about कि मुझे आज एक contract करना है. मैं यही सोचती हूँ, अच्छा मुझे आज ये shoot करना है, कितना मज़ा आएगा. So this is what I wake up for. This is what keeps me going. So I think that's how the transition happened, and it was a very smooth transition. And I'm really loving what I'm doing right now, sir.
But don't you think there should be some government regulations to control the use of social media for the younger generation especially? So, yeah, what do you think about that? It is going so at a faster pace that I think it needs to be controlled. What about your thoughts?
On social media. So, you know, when you talk about internet, I think internet is century ka hi nahi. I think humankind ka aaj tak ka the best invention that has happened is internet, you know. It has changed the way we think, it has changed the way we live. Now the world has become so smaller. If you talk about, I mean, there's so much of inflow and outflow of information, there's so much of positive approach to it, there's so much more we can do what we could do, you know, when internet was not there. But again, everything comes with its own pros and cons, you know, there's always a double-edged sword. So if obviously it gives you a positive outreach, but at the same time, there are a lot of issues which internet gets along. And it's not only for Gen Z, as we talk all the time, for younger generation, it affects people of our age too. You know, we talk a lot about, let's say, mental well-being, physical well-being, but हमेशा ना digital well-being भूल जाते हैं. So you need to understand, like, you know, I have an 8-year-old, and since the time she has opened her eyes, you know, it has been all internet, you know, पैदा ही internet के साथ हुए हैं बच्चे. So I have to make her understand that, darling, this is not real. Not everything you see on the internet is real, because all she sees is perfect things, you know, and perfection is very overrated. Genuine is what is in. But we have to make them understand कि अगर आपने वहाँ पे कोई picture देखी है, don't make it your ideal. Maybe out of the 100 best click pictures, this is the one shot that person has put there. So they are just showing their best moments. So you have to understand this is not real, and don't make it a benchmark. You know, understand there's a real side and there's a social media side. So if we use social media for positive influence, for outreach, it will do benefit. But if it starts affecting you mentally, if it somehow challenges your self-esteem, you know, you feel कि अच्छा मेरे पास है, उसके पास नहीं है, you know, such thoughts start coming to you, then a regulation is very much needed. And Instagram and other social platforms are doing a lot of things now for parental controls. बट मुझे लगता है इन कंट्रोल से ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है हमें अपने बच्चों को एजुकेट करना एज पेरेंट्स, एज इन्फ्लुएंसर्स, एज एल्डर्स, टू मेक देम अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस इज़ राइट, दिस इज़ रॉन्ग.